So, hey, when looking to move to Fort Lauderdale, the first thing you're going to want to figure out is, well, where do you want to live? And with an area of over 38 square miles, there's a lot to choose from. So with over 40 suburban communities and little cities around Fort Lauderdale, you're going to want to hear what the locals have to say and what those that live here have to say. So let's go ahead and get to it. Right next to the Everglades is Weston. And Weston's a master plan community that's among the most popular in Fort Lauderdale. And it's really for those who want to be a little further away from things. It's right up next to the Everglades. Even though it's a little further out, only 25 miles away from Fort Lauderdale. So while you have the distance that a lot of folks are looking for to be away from some of the hustle and bustle of downtown Fort Lauderdale, you're still close enough to be able to enjoy a lot of the amenities and a lot of the things that are going on in and around the Fort Lauderdale area. Now, Weston was originally built for those that want to play golf, and basically they want to play golf on a number of different courses, and they don't want to go too far. So that's how Weston kind of originated. However, over time, Weston has evolved into not just golf, it's entertainment, it's shopping. There's all kinds of life outside of the golf community in Weston. Weston also has the advantages of a lot of parks, a number of parks that have been set up around there, so that in addition to golf for the adults and those that want to play golf, and the shopping that folks want to do, there's a lot of what we call greenland around Weston. Parkland that's set up for folks that can go out and enjoy themselves. Weston is one of those communities that's set up so that you can basically walk or travel via a little golf cart, not ironically, anywhere you want to go in Weston. And homes in Weston, actually, it's a lot more affordable than many people think. Homes in Weston start around $200,000 for condos, okay? And single-family homes start around $500,000 to about $650,000. Now, there are some of the big luxury homes in there that are over $1 million, and some that have gone up for over $3 million. If you're looking to rent in Weston, rent starts around $2,350 and goes up from there for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, or a 1-bedroom, 1.5-bath condo. Okay. Now, one of the neat things about Weston is that in addition to everybody else who lives there loving Weston and loving the area, okay, one of the sources that we use, niche.com, actually gave Weston an overall grade of A+. So it's an A for schools. It was an A for good for families want to raise their children there. It's a B+ for jobs, basically a great local economy there to support folks who are coming down who want to work down in the Weston area. Okay, and it's a B- for crime and safety, so it's pretty much a very safe area. Okay, now some of the other things are kind of neat about Weston that we've heard from some of the locals is that in addition to niche.com, Weston ranked 18th out of 380 the best suburbs to raise a family in Florida. It was 21st out of 360 the best suburbs to live in Florida as a whole, and it was 42 out of 380 for the best public schools in Florida. So Weston, as a lot of folks have found out, Weston is truly a great place to live. Southwest Ranches is one of the most notable suburbs of Fort Lauderdale as the most rural, okay? And it has space for farms, it has space for grazing land. There's a lot of equestrian activity that goes on out there. And folks, it's not by accident. The Southwest Ranches was originally designed and originally developed to promote to minimize and to prevent the encroachment into the Everglades. It too, like Weston, borders on the Everglades, and they take their oversight of the Everglades and the natural wetlands very, very seriously. One of the cool things about Southwest Ranches is that there aren't any streetlights or any sidewalks, okay? And it's by law that it's set up that way, okay? And there are more horse farms than there are shopping centers there. It's a very, very rural place to live, kind of almost an anachronism from being down in Fort Lauderdale proper, which again makes it one of the more popular suburban areas of Fort Lauderdale. But even with all of this rural activity or ruralness, if you want to, if that's really a word, okay, it's very easy driving distance from downtown Fort Lauderdale. It, like Weston, is only about 25 to 30 minutes from downtown Fort Lauderdale. So you have the distance so that you can have your space and you can kind of be, wherever you want to be and have a little bit more land, a little bit more home, okay? But again, it's but a short drive down to downtown Fort Lauderdale and all the amenities that are here in Fort Lauderdale. One of the other things that makes Southwest Ranches so unique is basically all the homes in Southwest Ranches, they're all single-family homes. No condos, no townhomes, no villas, just all single-family homes, okay? And they start around $500,000 and they can go up into the millions of dollars, okay? One of the unique things about Southwest Ranches is that inside Southwest Ranches itself, all of the homes are single family homes. Because of the unique configuration of Southwest Ranches and because of the attraction that it has to a lot of folks, in addition to its proximity to Fort Lauderdale, downtown Fort Lauderdale proper, there are a number of condos and townhomes that are kind of on the fringe, not really in Southwest Ranches and proper, but close enough to where they can be considered part of it. So they get the benefit of being in that openness, but still the convenience of having a condo or having a townhome. One of the most unique things about Southwest Ranches, as far as being one of the top suburbs here in Fort Lauderdale, is the fact that the population is only about 7,600 folks. So a lot of land, big homes, close proximity to Fort Lauderdale, but actually a very, very small population to make it feel like kind of like a neighborhood community. So Cooper City bills itself as someplace special, okay? And many homeowners who live there basically agree, okay? It is definitely one of the more popular Fort Lauderdale neighborhoods. So one of the unique things about how Cooper City is set up is that most of the commercial activities and most of the other things, most of the commercialism around there is set on the edges. So basically, it leaves all the interior for folks for the homes, for the schools, and for the green spaces in Parkland that people have come to enjoy and associate with Cooper City. Now, Cooper City has also a tremendous number of restaurants and entertainment and dining options just outside Fort Lauderdale proper, to a little bit to the southwest. Okay, Cooper City is reachable very, very easy from folks in Fort Lauderdale, as well as folks who are living in Cooper City to get to Fort Lauderdale proper. Some of the great restaurants in Cooper City that folks, even outside of Cooper City, flock to is Uncle Al's, which is one of the best places for kind of casual eats and whatnot. The Vienna Cafe and Bistro is a fantastic little French bistro, if that's what you're into. Susan, I love that place. Okay. The Countryside Shops, and there's several little shopping plazas and little areas. I mean, in addition to the malls that you can find around, there's cute little plazas and cute little markets in there that kind of dot Cooper City. Cooper City, actually, from a housing perspective, it has the mixture of everything. So it has a little bit of something for everybody. Condos, townhomes, villas, single family homes. On the kind of low end, you can get into a condo for around $200,000, if not a little bit less. Okay, single family homes probably start in the mid fours in the Cooper City. Now, according to niche.com, Cooper City gets an overall grade of an A. Okay, it has an A for good for families. It's got a B plus for schools, so it leverages some of those great Broward County schools. Okay, it's got a B plus for jobs. Okay, and it's got a B for crime and safety. So even given its proximity, a little bit closer in than some of the further out communities like Southwest Ranches and like Weston, it's still considered very, very safe and very, very welcoming to families. One of the most Fort Lauderdale suburbs, Parkland, okay, has really actually lived up to its name, okay? And it was created to offer a park-like environment, and the atmosphere on the edge of the Everglades, and kind of bringing some of that parkland, wetland, natural type atmosphere in from the Everglades. And even for the first couple of decades that Parkland was around, there weren't any stoplights in Parkland. It was just considered a very, very tight-knit, very small community that offered folks the feel of being in a natural environment with a lot of greenery, a lot of shrubbery, a lot of wildlife. So, and it retains a lot of that character now. I mean, that's the overriding theme in Parkland, to keep with its name, Parkland. Okay, and most of all of the little neighborhoods inside Parkland go to great lengths to make sure that they continue to leverage the natural environment, the mature trees that are in there. So a lot of the streets and everything are kind of built and kind of run around those natural areas so that they don't destroy the mature look and the mature environment. So recently in Parkland, a lot of the developments have actually gone into some of a little bit larger homes. So what you'll see a variety of homes in Parkland. You'll see the traditional condos and some of the single family homes that were built when Parkland was first started. Most recently, the development of Parklands has been focusing on the development of larger, more luxurious single family homes. Most of the homes in Parkland are single family homes, but however, much like Southwest Ranches, there are condos and townhomes that are kind of on the fringe out there. But the majority of the homes that you'll find in Parkland, probably close to 99% of them, okay, are single family homes. Now, they range in type and style from the ones that were built earlier into almost an equestrian type atmosphere to the westernmost portion of Parkland, into some of the more opulent, more luxurious homes that have been recently built. And the homes in Parkland range from some of the smaller ones, about 1,500 square feet, to some of the ones that we've seen are upwards of 8,000 square feet. So you have a huge variety to choose from. And Parkland, again, being very, very close to Fort Lauderdale, a lot of the folks have the opportunity to travel right into Fort Lauderdale. A short trip, only 20 to 25 miles in there. into Fort Lauderdale, which is about a 30-minute drive on a good day, 40-minute drive when traffic is kind of kicking in. The home values in Parkland have gone up dramatically over the past couple of years. A lot of it is due to the attraction of Parkland. Homes in Parkland typically start around $800,000, and they're upwards of $7 to $8 million. And in some cases, we did actually go back and look and tour a home in Parkland most recently that was listed for $12 million. It was absolutely gorgeous, and it didn't stay on the market very, very long. Again, speaking to the popularity and the attraction of Parkland. Davie is one of the more closer in Fort Lauderdale suburbs, okay? And it's kind of shoehorned in between an area of Griffin Road and Interstate 575, okay? It's also one of the more populated suburbs of Fort Lauderdale with a population of about 110,000 folks. Now, one of the interesting things that we found out about Davie and talking to some of the locals is that basically, as Fort Lauderdale was kind of evolving back in the 60s and the 70s, Davie was actually kind of considered almost like a frontier type town for Fort Lauderdale. Now, and the folks in Davie, they kind of took that concept and they ran with it. So there was almost like a Western motif or a Western type feel around Davie. So when looking around Davie and traveling around Davie, you'll see some areas that are kind of like a Western saloon type of a thing for some of the bars, or a Western restaurant type of a scene, type of a motif. It's actually very, very cool to go take a look at. Okay. Now, one of the things that Davie is really known for is, again, like a lot of the cities in Broward County, it has a preponderance of parkland and green areas. Okay. And there's a ton of parks around there, but one of the things that is a definite not to miss, okay, is a wildlife sanctuary known as Flamingo Gardens. Okay. There's not as many restaurants in Davie, which actually is from the standpoint of the folks we've talked to, they actually kind of like it that way. It kind of leads more to the parkland and stuff like that. But again, a lot of those restaurants have that kind of Western motif. But due to its closeness to Fort Lauderdale, a lot of the folks don't mind having to travel a couple of miles to go out to some of the other restaurants out in and around the Fort Lauderdale area. One of the things that's really, really interesting and really, really neat to us about Davie is basically it's a huge variety of homes. Okay, it's for all budgets. I mean, you can find homes for less than $100,000 at single-family homes as well as condos. Okay, and you can go out and find some of the more opulent ones that are luxurious ones that are upwards that start around 1.4 million, 1.5 million, and they actually can go up to as high as $4 or $5 million. Okay. Now, and kind of in between, there's condos, townhomes, villas, there's a little bit of everything. There's even a couple of mobile home parks in there. So for folks that are looking to do something maybe during the high season, maybe rent it out during the off season, or if you're looking for something from a budget perspective that you want to start off down here and you're not really sure where you want to be, you can make a relatively minor investment in a mobile home. So Davie actually is one of the few communities around here that actually has a significant presence of mobile home parks. So folks, these are just a few of the over 40 suburban communities and cities around Fort Lauderdale. Okay. If you have any questions about any of these, or if there's anything that you think we may have missed or that we may have omitted, I can assure you it was certainly by accident. We took a lot of the information that we got from folks that we talked to, our clients, our customers, our friends. Okay. Please feel free to drop us a link in the email below, and then please feel free to drop us a note in the box below. Okay. If any questions, send us an email, shoot us a link, DM us, text us, or again, you can certainly schedule a call. We'll be happy to talk to you. Schedule an hour of time. We can go through the Zoom, hit the Zoom link, schedule an hour of time. We can go ahead and get everything set up for you guys, answer any questions you may have, point you in the right direction. So, and until next time.